All right, and we are recording. I nearly said live, but it's like we're not live. This is pre-recorded. Um, Welcome to very special guest. We're back with somewhat of like season either 1.5 or season 2, whatever you do it. My name is Phineas, or as I'm known on YouTube, the one and only Phineas. And who are you, my guest?
I'm Lauren Rogers. I'm an actress, singer, songwriter, and YouTuber.
Oh shoot! I forgot to change your pronouns on the whole on the thing. What are your pronouns, by the way?
She, her.
Valid. I'm proud of you. Cool. We're all good. So what would you like to talk about with this episode?
I don't know, Fullmetal Alchemist, musicals, any of the
Basically,
stuff on my channel.
yeah. No. I love that we're both Fullmetal Alchemist fans and musical fans. There's such a fun
Yes!
overlap there. Like, oh my gosh, though. No, like, it's the crossover between anime fan, and theater kid is a very fun blend.
That is definitely true.
But I gotta ask for you, like, since you do theater and stuff too, what was your like a venue after shows to go to? Because ours was IHOP and Friendlies.
Ours was definitely Applebee's and Waffle House.
So it's so funny because I feel like we always tend to gravitate towards the only places that actually like hold our energy at that late.
Yes.
As the poor host sees a party of lads. That's what I'm going to describe it as.
That is definitely true. And in fact, a lot of times when we go to Applebee's, like with the theater kids from my high school, sometimes the theater people from the community theater would also be there, and the workers just would be like, "Oh my gosh, there's two of them."
Well, it's like and the whole thing is like after a show, right? Like energies are always like flaring up immediately.
Yes.
I so I'll get into like my whole thing is my last show or my last musical that I did a musical version of Peter Pan.
Okay.
Or
that was my first musical, actually. My first musical was Peter Pan, and I was a lost boy.
You ready for this? I was Nana the dog. But so the way that I love to advertise my role in this to people, right, is I will blatantly tell people that have never met me before. I was like, oh yeah, I was a cross-dressing furry. Because I was.
That is hilarious.
Well, she's just a good girl. Like,
she is a good girl.
I also have the honor because like I also doubled as a pirate for the scenes that weren't there because guys in theater we do be like yeeting roles. So I doubled as a pirate, and I have the honor of being the only person who died twice in that show, right?
Because that is beautiful.
As a pirate, I was devoured by the beast the beast within the ship during that scene. And then during the gap between I don't know if your version had a gap between like the Wendy era and the Jane era, my director shouts, "Bring off the doghouse!" And we all know what that means.
Yes.
I love Nana though. It was a costume.
I bet. One of my funniest role doubling experiences was when I did Romeo and Juliet at my high school. I played Mercutio, which was like my Shakespeare dream role. So
best boy Mercutio's amazing.
Best boy, the original gay disaster. I love him so much. He might be my favorite character I've ever played, purely from a like analyzing standpoint. But anyways, this show was an absolute mess. So a week before opening, I also had to learn the role of Prince Aeschylus.
Fun.
And that's funny because Prince Aeschylus and Mercutio are not only like complete opposite personalities, but they're also canonically cousins. And it's really funny because Mercutio dies and I go off stage, and then I come back as Prince Aeschylus like, "You idiots killed my cousin."
See,
I get to die, and then I get to be my cousin who was mad about me dying.
See, I think it's so funny. And wait, can you hear me right now, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. Google Meets is a weird thing. Mm-hmm. So no, I think it's so funny, right? So like with Romeo and Juliet, I think that we have Benvolio, who's somewhat like one of the only brain cells in the show. Because Romeo and Juliet is an idiot plot where every single character makes the worst possible decisions for their situations.
It's such a fun show.
It's lovely. It's all you go.
Romeo and Juliet, I wouldn't say it's my favorite Shakespeare play, but it's my favorite one to talk about because there's so many different ways you can interpret it, and also so many ways it can be like misunderstood. Like, I acknowledge that it's not perfect, but I am such a huge Romeo and Juliet apologist, which probably stems from the fact that I learned it. We did it freshman year of high school.
Same.
We studied it in English class in freshman year of high school, and the teacher clearly hated it, and so thus pretty much the entire class also hated it. And like, one of my least favorite high school memories is when Romeo killed himself. The entire room cheered and the teacher encouraged it, except me. I was the only one who didn't cheer. And like, I get that Romeo's annoying and stupid, but I am annoying and stupid in some of the exact same ways Romeo is. Like, we're very similar personality-wise. So it's like, when people dunk on Romeo all the time, I'm just like, I know, but hey.
So, like, I noticed, by the way, on your channel that one of your videos was the MBTI video, which super valid. I'm an MBTI like enthusiast.
The FMA MBTI video?
Yes.
Yes, I love that one.
No, I'm an MBTI enthusiast. I got the bug. I religiously go on personality database, right?
Same. I do that for all of the shows, all of the characters.
So to put it in perspective,
ENFP?
Yeah. Do I have the energy?
I think I saw it on like one of your social medias that you're an ENFP.
Oh yeah, no, I am.
You're
an INFP, right?
Yes, I am an INFP. And do you know Enneagram?
Yeah, I'm a 9-wing-1.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm a 4-wing-3.
See, it's so funny, right? Because like within the MBTI thing, like a lot of the ENFPs that I like see and stuff are like 7-wing-6s and stuff, which is what I was mistyped as for the like longest time. But
yes,
if you get to like my like inner core of the energy, if you're dissecting me, the deep fear of abandonment is there. Also,
yes, same. I believe I was mistyped as a 9 when I first took the Enneagram test.
Valid.
And now I don't even consider myself to have a 9 fix. Like, my tri-type is 471.
I'm a 972.
Yeah.
I love that we randomly like kind of like just met and I like was like, "Hi, want to be on my podcast?" And then like boom, we were just talking for the first time now, and
literally, it's perfect.
It's the theater kid culture, I think, partially, where it's like, but like not like full theater kid culture. It's like the good theater kid culture. I don't know how tea obsessed the people at your school were, but like I had some bad experiences with the tea culture at my school.
Yeah, toxic theater kid culture is totally a thing. And that's part of why I still refuse to listen to Mean Girls the musical. Not because it's bad, but because so many of the people who really like it tend to be, Mean Girls.
Well,
like at my school, all of the like catty theater girls who were mean to me were like obsessed with Mean Girls and Heathers, which like really put me off to those shows. I still really like Heathers, but like the fans of Heathers, the people who are like obsessed with it and think it's the best thing ever, like are very off-putting to me because of that.
I don't think Heathers is the best thing ever, right? But like, I will admit, I've seen every piece of Heather's media, and yes, that includes the really bad live-action TV show.
Oh no!
I hate watched it like 2 years ago, and to be honest, I want to do like a full-on like everything wrong with video essay for the show.
That was me with the Fullmetal Alchemist live-action movies.
I haven't watched the live-action Fullmetal Alchemist movies.
I watched a bunch of reviews of the first one, so that
let me guess, Mother's Basement.
Yes, Mother's but I wasn't planning on actually watching it until I was working on my video essay about the Roy versus Lust fight. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know what would make this so much better? If I wrote about everything that is good in this scene in the show and compared it to all of the trizillion ways that the live action movie just completely destroyed that scene. Like, so then I had to go back and watch the whole movie.
Well, like,
so I could get like the proper context of it. And they get so much wrong. It made me so angry. And then I watched the second one recently. I haven't seen the third one yet. The second one was a lot more fun. It was like the first one was torture. The second one is still bad, but it's like fun bad. It's a meme. It is such a meme.
I have such a love for fun bad movies. Like I have so my first claim to fame, right? The first video that I ever like made on this channel or like for video essays was I did a video reviewing every Ice Age movie.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Needless to say, they're all not good.
Move it up and do the same. Take it back and do the same.
Conan is shockingly like a little more okay than people give it credit for. Like, I'm sorry, but you get Peter Dinklage to voice your villain, and you're gonna have a more fun time than
that is facts. That is straight facts.
Than Meltdown or like Collision Course, which are my two outright like bad Ice Age movies. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to also with like live action movies and stuff. It's sad because like I haven't seen an anime live action movie done right really yet. Like one of the other ones that I watched like the Death Note movie, which is a disaster aside from Willem Dafoe, who's doing it his all.
Right? Like Willem Dafoe as Ryuk is the most perfect cast in the history of casting. Why couldn't he have been in an actual good adaptation of Death Note? And Margaret Qualley? Like, have you watched Maid? I love Margaret Qualley. She's a fabulous actress. What is she doing in there?
Well, then there's also like Lakeith Stanfield, who's like super good.
I forgot he was in that. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's so funny, right? Because like my favorite adaptation of the Death Note story is the musical.
I love the Death Note musical. It's fantastic. I mean, I won't say it's perfect from an adaptation standpoint, but purely from like the songs fitting the tone of the show and understanding the characters so well, it's amazing. I think Frank Wildhorn was the
perfect a genius
person. He was the perfect person to do the score because his gothic style of music just really fits Death Note so well. And Death Note is like the last anime that I thought would work as a musical, but it really does.
But like my whole thing with the show, right, is I think like there's one song that I call a miss, and it's "I'm Ready." "I'm Ready" is the only song that I skip in the soundtrack.
But I don't think it really works.
But also it's got my favorite version of Misa Amane ever.
That is true. Misa's songs hit.
And then also like the best version of Ram, I think.
Mortals and Fools. Mortals and Fools.
Mortals and Fools is beautiful. Borrowed Time is such a great one.
Stop.
I think the whole thing, and so the Death Note musical is what made me think, okay, I kind of think you can make a musical and anything could work as a musical.
Exactly.
I think, for the most part.
I think like people are like, oh, that you can't make that into a musical. That's not the plot for a musical. And I'm like, dude, one of the greatest musicals of all time is literally about a barber who kills people and bakes them into pies.
Which one's that?
Turn anything into a good musical. There is a musical about tap dancing Mormon missionaries.
Well, so like the funny thing is like I've got a lot of
creators of South Park.
Oh, yeah. Book of Mormon. It was honestly of the I've seen 5 shows right on Broadway. I saw Aladdin, Wicked, 2 kind of staples at this point. Mm-hmm. I saw Book of Mormon, which is the least impressive of the 5 that I've seen. But then there's like SpongeBob the musical. I saw Front Row right in 2018.
Oh, that must have been fun.
That show is just, oh my gosh. That's one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, this is so good.
You can turn anything into a musical, really. Like a dedicated enough person could probably make a Breaking Bad musical good.
Jesse,
we have to cook.
Breaking Bad musical coming out soon on this channel in 2020. What?
Give me my dramatic conflicted Skylar White ballad.
Yeah.
Or my super words fail-esque make you cry Jesse song.
We made crack. Oh, wait, meth. That's meth. I have not watched Breaking Bad. I love Aaron Paul so much, though.
I love him too. He's fabulous. And he's never taken acting lessons. He had it when he did Breaking Bad.
I'm not gonna lie, I've never actually watched all of Breaking Bad. I was watching it as a family watch with my dad, in early high school, and then my dad just stopped watching it. So by effect, I kind of stopped at that point too. But I'm a massive BoJack Horseman fan.
I really want to watch that show. I haven't yet though.
Aaron Paul is like, oh my gosh.
He voices Todd, right?
Yes, best boy.
I've seen clips of Todd and I already love him.
No, but oh my gosh. See, also the other thing, I should have prefaced this before we started recording, but I think you've picked it up now. We change topics literally all the time on this podcast, and that's part of the theme.
I'm totally fine with that.
It's all running on my ADHD energy in that sense. So
yeah, Breaking Bad is my third favorite show after Fullmetal Alchemist and Lost, and it's objectively the best show I've ever seen.
I need to watch watch Lost, but Fullmetal
Lost is so good. Lost changed my life.
Fullmetal, I still want though. Like, I don't know about your, so I don't know all the details on like your Fullmetal Alchemist musical, right? But I think it'd be really funny. Hamilton parody did That's Just Mustang with his thing, because I feel like he's the perfect character.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like,
I'm obsessed with Fullmetal Alchemist Hamilton crossovers. I have this list of all the moments in Hamilton that could like work with FMA characters.
Well, honestly, Hamilton is one of so Hamilton's up there for me in musicals and stuff too. I think.
It's definitely in my top 10.
I'm working one of the scripts that I've had that I've wanted to do or something at some point is I want to do something on the motifs, because like Hamilton expertly uses like shorthand on every character to set up exactly where they are. And because like every character's got their like little beats, so you know exactly where they're thinking in their head, so you don't need all that backstory to get them there. And the shows, that's part of the show's genius. I still need to see in the Heights at some point.
And the Heights is very good,
but
it's not as polished as Hamilton, but it's really good.
I am also a massive fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda's Tick Tick Boom movie.
Oh, I love Tick Tick Boom. It kind of hurt me though, because like I would watch like Jonathan put all his like life's work into this musical and just have it rejected by anybody, and his agent's just like, write the next thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
why does he write like he's running out of time?
What if that happens to me?
Honestly though, that's such a mood, especially because like within film too, right? It's one of those things where it's like, it's so funny because like industry insiders think that it's like, it's so baffling and stuff. But no, another thing. So one thing that I discovered of Lin-Manuel Miranda is, have you seen like 21 Jump Street?
I haven't seen 21 Jump Street yet though.
It is it's like 15 minutes. It is like, it is so baffling. It's like probably the single most hated character for me in like musical history. I forget, like, I don't know if you know the story of it, but it's basically a narc gets this kid who falls in love with her to give her weed, and then like
what?
Him. Yeah,
that sounds whack.
It's crazy, and it's like it's fascinating because it's like Lin-Manuel Miranda and the kid who gets arrested, right, is the same guy. I'm blanking on his name because I'm bad with theater names. Is the same guy who plays oh my gosh, what's the name? Plays Hamilton's son, and then also
Anthony Ramos.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so he plays this character who gets arrested because Anthony Ramos does not get a break in a single Lin-Manuel Miranda project.
He does not. He really doesn't.
He dies twice. Also, spoilers for Hamilton. Yeah, he dies twice. Can you hear me?
We can just have Anthony Ramos play Mace Hughes in the musical.
Yeah, exactly. Dude.
I have like an entire dream cast for the musical, which is probably never going to happen because I'm not going to have the musical be like officially performed for like another 10 years because I have my heart set on originating the role of Riza, and I won't be old enough for another like 10 years. I appreciate, like, this is one of those things where it's like, for me, when it comes to like watching a lot of like musicals, right? Or we're watching a lot of like, for the anime that I've watched. I haven't watched a lot, but like a lot of them really don't have a good relationship with their like female characters. Oh, the female characters of Fullmetal Alchemist are so good. Because it was written by a woman.
No, they're literally all amazing. Like the entire work is devoid of like most of the sexual tropes that drag down some of its contemporaries. Like other ones that are kind of close. Like another show that I liked and stuff was like My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia has a big Mineta problem.
Yeah, it does. My Hero Academia has really good female characters, but it wastes them. Like it doesn't do as much with them as it should.
Other ones. Let's see. I love Promised Neverland.
I haven't watched Promised Neverland, but it's like next on my list.
You're in for a treat. It's funny because so honestly though, with like anime, right, it's so funny for me seeing how everyone portrays different characters in like different ways and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is, I think, for me, it's the single greatest and like most comprehensively told story of all time, in my opinion.
I agree.
Like, I think it's just so thought out with like everything, with each of its like core things. Every opening of the show slaps so hard. Like my whole thing is I like the first one's the best one, of course, but I love the third one, love the fourth one, love the fifth one.
Oh, the fifth one is so beautiful. It makes me sob.
It's dun 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 da 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 dun 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 dun.
I taught myself all the words to the first opening. Like one of my biggest flexes is being able to do the fast part of that song.
That's so valid.
Like I remember listening to it the first time and being like, "Holy crap, how do you do this?" And now I'm just like, "Sumi no saiga wa nami janai yo, zutakuru shikseyo takura, dikuchi mai nei kanjo meiro ni dare no materu no."
Dun 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 dun. No. So you ready for this? So I don't know if you have any siblings, right? But like, so I'm the older brother, but I'm also like a third of a foot shorter than my younger brother. So I'm desperately trying to convince him to do an Alphonse cosplay
please.
So I can do like Edward and stuff. Because I honestly think it'd be a really, really funny like thing to do. Which is kind of funny because of the two of us, I'm a lot. So my brother's like an ISFJ. My brother's probably not listening. But hi, brother, how are you doing?
Hi.
My brother. It's funny because like I'm someone who I've got like elements of like both of them. Yeah, you know, it's the whole ENFP 9-wing-1 thing where it's like we're very passionate people, but we're very passive people.
Yeah, I can relate to both of them a lot too. I relate to Winry the most out of any of the characters, though. It's that only child who doesn't have a lot of friends, so she throws everything into her hobbies thing we both got going on.
Honestly, that's a fair way to be. Winry's such a cool character and stuff too.
Writing her song for the musical was really fun. I got to put a lot of myself into that one.
So I gotta ask. So okay, you've intrigued me on the musical, right?
Oh, ask me all the questions, please.
Are you ready for this? All the questions now. But so where does your story for the musical start, and where does it like directly end?
Well, we're trying to cover the whole story, and we're gonna do it like Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, where it's in 2 parts. So it's like you see the first 2.5 hours as the matinee, and then you see the second 2.5 hours as the evening show.
Oh, so and you're J.K. Rowling Freed?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. No, but oh my gosh, that's so. Where does the end of the first half like get to?
The end of the first half, it ends. The first half ends after Riza has told Edward about Ishval.
Okay. And then so the second half ends at the very end of the whole thing?
The second part begins with the Briggs soldiers get the big part 2 opener.
Nice.
One of the funniest pacing choices we made was making the Act 1 finale of part 1 is Roy killing Maria Ross. So that's where you cut off for intermission. So we've just left the audience to like stew in their hatred for Roy for 15 minutes. We're just gonna leave them thinking he's a sociopath for all of intermission.
Yeah, you know.
It's so funny because Roy is my favorite character. He is literally my favorite character of all time. But I'm also like, ooh, I'm gonna make them hate him so much.
Honestly, that's gonna be such a fun thing to do. Honestly, I kind of wish that there was like another like more theaters in like New York City, right? Where they actually like show things like okay, one of my biggest things that I'm sad that never happened is the Death Note musical has never come to America
I
yet.
know.
Which is
Like,
sad because it's actually like also the whole thing is Jeremy Jordan is like oh my gosh like
perfect
so
vocals.
my other Wild Horn musical that I've listened to is Bonnie and Clyde,
Oh, I
which
love
is
Bonnie and Clyde.
seriously Wild Horn is like it's funny because he doesn't get like a lot of critical respect I've noticed nowadays, but like he's kind of just a genius at making every song matter, and that's the way that I would describe it.
Yes. Yeah,
Because
Bonnie and Clyde and Jekyll and Hyde are two of my favorite musicals for sure.
he's got
As
a
you
thing
said,
for names that have "and" in them, doesn't he?
he does, doesn't he?
Um, but like
The
so the
heart
whole
that
thing with his musicals that's so nice is
wins.
you always get to those musicals right where it feels like there's at least like one song that's like fluff and stuff and it doesn't really
Yes.
matter. But in a Wild Horn musical,
None of the Wild Horn songs are fluff.
exactly every single beat moves along and feels like it has like such an impact to it. Um, like even songs that like could have been fluff in any other musical, like going to the Death Note musical, right? Like
Like
song.
they sound so good that you don't care.
Yeah. Except for, and again, I'm Ready is the one where it's like, huh, this is a pop song in the middle of a Death Note musical.
Yeah.
I rag on that song probably a little too much,
That's
but
fair.
it's a funny one to rag on.
And that's definitely one of the things I've tried to put into the Fullmetal Alchemist musical is like when you have to condense a whole story that's like 64 episodes into 5 hours, every song needs to matter. You cannot
Yeah.
have any filler. Every song needs to advance plot and character at the same time.
Well, so another musical, right, is so it's funny because like I recently saw Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, right, back like a month ago. I've got a fun relationship with Dear Evan Hansen where like I love
me too. I
I
can spill so many thoughts about Dear Evan Hansen. I have such a love-hate relationship with it.
I kind of do too. Like I love some things, but it, like musical Evan, I think actually is like a flawed but kind of
He
likable
is a
person and
very
stuff.
interesting character, and I've read the novel of Dear Evan Hansen, and it does such a
Ooh.
good job. The thing about Dear Evan Hansen is people want it to be something that it's not. People don't like Dear Evan Hansen because they want it to be some like inspirational anti-bullying story, and it's not. It's a Shakespearean tragedy where the hero is brought down by his own flaws.
Yeah.
And that is why I love it. We don't have
Okay.
a lot of musicals like that anymore.
Okay, but so like my favorite song of the whole show, right, is "Good for You."
Oh yes, yes.
I think Good for You
and Words Fail are my favorites.
For me, it's "Good for You," "Requiem," and "Sincerely Me." I think those are like the big three. Like
those are my favorites too.
It's funny because the two words fail sound so good and stuff, but like the big one that a lot of people think of is like "Waving Through a Window," but like "Waving Through a Window" doesn't hit as much and stuff. And have you watched the bad Dear Evan Hansen movie?
I haven't, but I've watched Shafrillis Productions' review of it, so that's enough.
Shafrillis is fantastic.
I love that. I love him. He's my favorite YouTuber, and having him notice my channel was like one of the best moments, literally, of my entire life. And now I like email him back and forth, and it's so fun. I just get to be like, oh, I just got another email from James.
Nice. I think honestly, no, he's actually like one of my inspirations in a lot of in a lot of things too on the YouTube like platform. I'm a big like fan of like I watch a lot of like video essays on like movies, animation and stuff.
I do too.
Stuff. I between like him because I think in the animation community, I think he's one of the most accessible ones and stuff. I'm like in his Patreon server and stuff and everything because yeah. But no, so with the Dear Evan Hansen movie, right? So like they cut "Good for You," and that is, I think, one of the single-handed like dumbest decisions you could make in an entire when you're making a movie ever. And like I love the director Steven Chbosky, to be honest. Like I've heard a lot of like, so I'm assuming, do you also watch like Sarah Zed and that kind of stuff?
I watch some of her stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I watch her and Emily's stuff often. And I was like hearing it and stuff because it's like I like the director from. Have you seen like Perks of Being a Wallflower?
I haven't seen Perks of Being a Wallflower, but I want.
I think it's good, but it's not for me like the defining one from him. I saw Wonder, if you saw that.
Oh, I love Wonder.
I think it's one of the sweetest movies like literally
Yeah,
ever.
I loved the book growing up, and I thought the movie did a really good job of adapting it.
It's probably one of the better book to movie
Oh,
adaptations that
for
we've
sure.
gotten
The
because
casting was perfect. That like it was so well acted.
and it's I think very underrated nowadays too. Um
Definitely. Like the girl they cast as Via, she did such a good job. Where are her flowers? Why isn't she getting work left and right?
I feel like so often there's like really good movies that like go so under the radar. Like from this year, right? So, one of the movies that I saw this year, and I'm gonna use this as a chance to talk about it and try to get you to check out because you'd probably like it. I think was this movie called Better Nate Than Ever on Disney Plus.
Oh, I've heard about that one. I read the book a while ago.
I never read the book, but oh my gosh, it's actually like so good and it went so under the radar. Like it is my like third favorite film of the entire year. I've seen 14 films so far. This year's not been a really good year for movies, to be honest. From like a lot of the ones that I've seen.
I don't have time to watch a lot of movies, so really the only movies that I've seen that came out this year were No Way Home, Turning Red, and Nope.
Nope is my favorite film of the entire year.
I love Nope. I saw a late showing of it with a bunch of my college friends last weekend. We were all obsessed with it.
I saw a second showing of it and I love its themes, especially because like
brilliant.
no, it's honestly like for me, the two films of Peele's that I'm like torn between on which is my favorite. Right,
I haven't seen the other two Peele movies.
Get Out's the one that you should check out next. Because Get Out, and I'm watching that with my college friends. Funny, I love the college student lifestyle of just like being with friends so often. It's so nice. But so yeah, no, I'm watching that with my college friends like tonight.
Yeah, I'm already such a huge fan of Jordan Peele just after seeing one movie of his. His direction's genius.
Oh, absolutely. And like, but no, the massive things about like animals and stuff, I think is one of the biggest things. Because like
tied everything together so well.
Because like my parents watched the movie, but they didn't get the big theme that the theme was about the mankind's relationship with animals and stuff. Also, like I love Stephen Yeun and like everything that he's in.
Oh, Stephen Yeun was great.
I think that's how I pronounced his last name. I'm so sorry if I'm not.
I think that's it. I think you got it.
Okay, cool. I always want to double check with last names because it's like, huh? I'm pretty good with like my name, right? And I'm assuming Lauren Rogers is like easy for most people to like know.
Yeah, except people spell my last name with a D a lot of the time, and I'm like, there's no D.
So my last name, you ready for this? So I'm Phineas Nutting. That's the name that I was given, and it was like, huh?
Yes.
That's a fun one to grow up with.
Oof, I bet it is.
I'm pretty open about what my like name is at this point in my life because it's like I'm not escaping it. I'm the only people named Phineas around. I've got an edge on like any interview that I get because like you've got honestly, your name that rolls off the tongue so well.
What?
Your name rolls off the tongue so well. It's like
that's great.
Lauren Rogers, like boom.
I used to be kind of insecure about my name because I've always wanted to do theater, and I didn't think I had like a star quality name. Like I couldn't imagine people saying my name and being like, "Oh, she's that girl." I didn't imagine people being like, "Oh, Patti LuPone," like about my name.
I haven't seen much about what Patti LuPone's done, but I saw her performance in Steven Universe growing up.
Oh my god, yes!
Because like so no, I've been big into animation for like literally years. This channel is right. I don't know about you, but like I'm on my third YouTube channel that I've been trying to do things on. I had a previous one that was like I did a little middle school vlogs, right? Like trying to review like cartoons. That was an era of my existence.
I used to like film those on my little iPod before my mom let me have a YouTube channel, and I would just like pretend I had a YouTube channel for years before actually getting one.
No, well, so the thing there is I've got like a fun like log of myself growing up through all of the middle school years.
I love that.
He was a good dude. Little me is like, it's funny because I was very eccentric. Like I was that child who raised my hand nonstop in classes.
I was too.
Yeah.
I'm like a loud introvert. I'm very energetic. I'm very passionate, but I also stay in my room all the time.
So I'm honestly kind of, I chill in my room when I'm like not doing things with people. But let's be real, like I'm someone who it's like I'm constantly like if I go an hour on my own, I'm like starting to text my friends, what are you doing?
See, I have to like mentally work myself up before I go out and do anything with friends because I am so like hyper obsessed with being productive. Like
Yeah.
whenever I go out with my friends, I'm just like, you could be working on something right now.
So I
Like I
it's
feel
so
guilty.
that's so fair and stuff because like I've I try to get into those like sparks for writing things. I'm currently writing I currently actually have like a project that I'm working on. I'm currently working on a short film for college called Dice with the Devil. Um which is a fun one. It's fun to it's like it's a high stakes gambling short film.
Okay.
Set in my mind, like I'm not the biggest like Panic at the Disco fan, but I like their song Crazy Equals Genius.
Yes.
And so that song was the inspiration sort of for like the energy and feel of this short film. But no, being productive is such a battle, honestly though.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love meeting other creative people so much, by the way. Like
I love it too.
It's so impressive. And it's like, oh, you do such cool things. Like
I know.
I could never like draw right, but like I'm not really good at the drawing, and I took trumpet in like middle school, right? But the whole thing with that was I have asthma, so trumpet's not a good instrument for that.
I bet it was.
And then I played piano, but like I had the littlest baby hands when I was taking piano lessons.
Oh my gosh, I play piano and I have tiny hands.
It's a battle.
I can't like look at some super hard classical piece and play it, but I've arranged like a few simple songs from TV shows. Like I can play a bunch of the stuff from Lost. I can play like Trisha's Lullaby from FMA. I can play Happy Sad from the Addams Family musical really well. I like did a special arrangement of that for graduation.
I love that. Honestly, I need to like familiarize myself with more musicals and stuff. There's so many good musicals and it's crazy. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to like familiarize myself with a lot more musicals in the past year because I did this summer camp last year and this girl was like, "Oh my gosh, I love Come From Away. It's definitely in my top 50 favorite musicals." And I was like, "You have a top 50? I need to get to work." So I've listened to like 75 musicals in the past year.
So like one of the musicals that I've been like one of the musicals right that I also have a love-hate relationship with is The Prom.
Oh, I totally get that. I actually haven't listened to The Prom all the way yet, but I've heard several of the songs, and I watched a review of why the Netflix movie is bad and doesn't understand what was good about the musical.
My whole thing with a musical, right, is you've got like this really sweet romance story, and then you decided to set your thing on the Broadway stars who are using this as a publicity move.
That's not great.
But like past that, there's some stuff that's like sweet in it. I'm trying to think of like all the musicals that I got. Oh, I got into the Percy Jackson musical somewhat.
Oh, I like the Percy Jackson musical. It's such a good like adaptation of the story, and like the critics dunked on it so bad, and I was like, but this musical understands the characters so well. Like Good Kid, My Grand Plan, like that's it was definitely a huge inspiration for me writing the FMA musical because like I wanted to write songs like that just capture the essence of the characters.
So I'm unfamiliar with the Percy Jackson books, and it's funny because everyone's like, "What? You seem like someone who would have read the Percy Jackson books," but I'm no.
You do.
I honestly I think that is going to be a really fun project at some point for me to do at some point where I just go through all the books and stuff. But so the thing within the musical that I love is like I love The Tree on the Hill. That's one of my favorite ones. My Grand Plan.
Oh.
Honestly, it's actually such an underrated musical. Another one that I got into recently was like Be More Chill. I started listening to it sometimes.
Be More Chill is another one I refuse to listen to because of the fandom.
Yeah, fandoms are weird.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing for me is I stay away from fandoms mostly online.
I stick with the Hadestown and Great Comet fandoms because they're like they don't get bogged down in like stupid shipping wars and stuff. They're just like really analytical about what's great about the shows.
I've never listened to Great Comet, but I am a fan of.
Never listened to Great Comet.
I know.
Great Comet is my favorite modern musical.
But I am a fan of Ghost Quartet.
I love Ghost Quartet too. Ghost Quartet is brilliant. Hero is one of the best musical theater songs ever. It's like my favorite obscure musical song.
A really good friend of mine got me to check it out in summer of 2020. I got into things pretty late. Like I got into Hamilton in 2020. But
I get into everything late.
You're valid, and I'm proud of you. So
I definitely got into Great Comet and Hadestown late. I didn't get into Hamilton late because Hamilton wasn't the show that got me into musical theater. That was Phantom of the Opera, but I got into musical theater the same year Hamilton came out. So
yeah. So one of the things that I did, right, was from 2019 until like quarantine of 2020, I did this thing where I made listen mixes. So the whole thing that I did is I didn't change my playlist up, right? I made an entire new playlist and like dated it. So I have a record for that period of time of exactly what music I was like listening to on Apple Music. So other things within that, Ghost Quartet was like really good and lasted a while and that and stuff. Another musical that I've got a love-hate relationship with is the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one.
I haven't listened to that one.
I think that there's some songs that are like really fun in that, but then there's other ones that are like, why? Like they made the decision to cast the children as adults, except for Charlie.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in the American version, West End's way better.
Be consistent, bruh.
I know.
Either go You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, or go Matilda. Don't pick and choose.
Hot take: Matilda is one of those musicals that I didn't have yet to have a single song like stick with me with it.
Oh, Matilda's one of my favorites. Ooh.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'm like that with some musicals.
This Matilda slander, I know.
No, I'm like that with Next to Normal. I know Next to Normal is objectively good, but none of the songs just stuck out to me like they did with some other people.
I haven't listened to that one yet. Let's see. So another one that I've like listened to within I'm looking through my mixes right now. Let's see. Massive Bo Burnham fan.
Yes.
Mitski is not a musical, but you know.
I know like 2 Mitski songs, and I know I need to get into her way more because I love the sad girl music, but I don't think I can consider myself a proper sad girl because I only know 2 Mitski songs, and I don't know any Phoebe Bridgers songs except the one she did with Taylor Swift.
I'm trying to look through because I
literally only listened to Fiona Apple and Lana Del Rey for the first time last week.
Valid.
So, how much of a sad girl really am I?
My music taste is like so scattershot in the end of the day.
Same.
Like
mine is like musical theater, classic rock, and sad girls.
Musical theater, and then like the indie sphere and stuff. I love like Jack Johnson. I love like Upside Down. I rewatched last month Curious George of all movies. It was such a big one in my childhood.
I love that.
It's fun because like I think roughly you're a freshman in college, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're like 2 years apart. I was born in like 2001. So it's fun because like we kind of just we're in the like, I don't know if we're even considered like older Gen Z at this point, but like I work at a summer camp, right, where these kids are getting phones at like the age of 8.
Like no.
I got my phone at the start of high school.
Let them have a childhood.
Exactly.
I did not get a phone until the summer before my senior year of high school because I outright refused to get one. I did not want a phone because I liked the specialness that came with being the only kid at my school who didn't have a phone.
And also
because I get addicted to things really easily.
I'm the kind of person where I get a pack of gum, right, and I go through it within a day. It's like, ooh, gonna grab one more piece.
Facts.
It's, oh my gosh, like the whole thing for me with my phone and stuff is I had a Kindle for a while, like a Kindle Fire HD.
Same.
I got that in like 5th grade, and I used that to watch like YouTube videos in my bed, which was very cozy and stuff to do as like my one shtick with it. And then so I got my first like proper laptop to be in my room in 7th grade. I was like, I saved it, so I literally bought a $200 computer. That was these things were HP streams. They're like little baby computers. Like mine was like
Aw.
light blue. It's really cute and perfect for browsing the web. But the problem is I thought I was gonna be able to make YouTube videos on it, and I
Oof.
couldn't. Um and now I've got my like little Alienware setup that I've like grown into, which is really lovely. Um and does everything that I need from like if I don't play games too much, but like I'm really big into one like card game, right? And then like other various things online.
Mhm.
Um but the Alienware does a pretty nice and toasty editing job.
That's
Editing's
very
like the most boring part of any video making process. I don't know how you are
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah,
Um
I hate like going in with all the little clips I've recorded for my video and like just shaving off milliseconds
Yep.
of
No,
silence.
I'm trying to find ways to like streamline it for my character and stuff. Um because like for like video essays, right? I'm not a face cam video essayist. I am a little dude video essayist. Um
Yeah, I have to be a fake I kind of hate being on camera, but I have to be a face cam video essayist because I don't want to go to the trouble of finding clips for every single thing.
honestly, that I might eventually try that, but like it's gonna I don't know, it's a lot of fun to like it's a lot of fun to make video essays though and just getting your ideas formulated.
It really
Like
is.
it's like English class but with topics that you like and
Exactly.
there's no English teacher telling you that that's the wrong interpretation of the book.
Yeah, I'm
I
still
don't
so proud of my Roy I video essay that I did last year.
Yay! No, I've gotten this way from the start, right? It's so funny because like what was it originally gonna be one of my first videos is I originally was doing a Total Drama World Tour songs ranked video,
Oh.
and I had it nearly ready to go before Shafrillas, right? But I
Aw.
stopped, and so it's vaulted now in my scrapped thing. But I had the entire script. Like I don't know if you were a Total Drama fan as
I
growing up
was
and stuff.
not, but I know of it.
Valid. Um, but no, I have an entire ranking of that right, all done, but it just never got made.
Oof.
And I'm kind of sad about it, but also like Shifreless's video is so good, dude. Like I love that there's like theater kids doing YouTube. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I sometimes I miss when I was in middle school and I was like the only theater kid, but at the same time it's fun that there's an actual community now.
Yeah, no, my school, right? I've distanced myself from the theater kids at my college after kind of a bad experience with
Oof.
yeah, with it, which it's like fine, but like I'm a film person, so it's like I'm always working on like film majors do be like film sets, trying to find actors and stuff,
Yeah.
and just existing. I go to school, by the way, where the big thing, so I go to school in Vermont, right? I'm from
Mhm.
Maine, um, and so the main thing at the school is video games. That is like the big program there. So most of the children here, children as in 18-year-olds, are video game like artists,
That's
designers, and
cool.
programmers. Art school is so much fun though. Like
It is. So many of the kids at my school are music majors.
we're all a little quirky here, and it's nice.
Yes.
Versus high school, where it's like I was probably one of the most eccentric people in my grade.
Same, same.
But it's so nice just to have the normality of everyone in a nice little melting pot and stuff.
Mhm.
And just coming up with ideas is so much fun, and having other people who are as well.
It really is.
Well, so for you for musical theater, right? So I had a phase where I tried to write like plays and stuff. I've got I've got two plays that I've written under my belt at this point.
Cool.
One acts, because I don't know if your school ever did one acts, but like our shtick was we did a one act festival and I tried to be a student writer for it.
Mhm.
But how often do you go back to your old writing and you're like, I wrote that?
Oh yeah. Like in both good and bad ways. Like, I'll go back and listen to Even Into Hell, which I wrote a year and a half ago, and be like, I wrote that! But I'll also go back and look at, like, the songs I wrote for, we had this thing in middle school called Genius Hour, where every Friday in English class, we'd spend an hour working on this project. I did it 2 years in a row, and I did a song both years. And
Aw.
I would, and like I worked on the piano track and everything, and like I'll go back and listen to those songs and be like, I wrote that.
My two one act plays, right? Like one of them is, but the shtick about it is it's about a family's first dollar that they earn, passing down the dynasty through years and stuff. So it like starts off in like the when the Great Depression happens, then the character is going off to World War II. Then we're going to like the rise of banking. Then there's like a mafia scene. Then I think we pivot into like the 1990s like activism and stuff before
Okay.
settling into a modern day just a modern day family thing. It's a but like it was a it's like it's a weird in retrospect. My favorite moment was I had a banker yell at a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old for trying to get a credit card at a bank. And my favorite line and my favorite lines in this right are hang on, I'm trying to find it. My favorite lines that I wrote, so this piece is called Dollar on the Move, is her being like, you think you can find the cure to polio or go to space or be a star on the telly? Well, you can't, because they couldn't at the time in 1955, but oh boy, they were about to be able to. And honestly, it's one of those things where it's like it feels good to just finish something if you haven't.
It really does.
Because like I'm the kind of person who I start like 5 million projects and then don't finish any.
Same.
This is a Lauren Rogers Call Out podcast, by the way. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm kidding. But it's honestly just good getting something completed.
It really, really is. Like I finished so last weekend I finished arranging the sheet music for Rain, which is not to be confused with Rain, the 5th opening of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, but it's Roy Mustang's solo in the musical. He sings it after Hughes's funeral, and it's this gorgeous, dramatic ballad that starts off really sad. And
dude, Hughes did not deserve death.
It builds to this triumphant, I'm going to avenge my best friend conclusion, and he holds out a really long note, and it's great. But I finished the sheet music for that, and it was so fun getting to add in like the dynamic markings and the expression stuff, and like have it printed out and be like, I wrote this.
Honestly, yeah, no, it's so satisfying to get something completed, and like even if you like, bring it to someone and you don't get like a reaction back. I don't know how often you've done those things where it's like, cause the other thing in my high school, right, is the person that I thought was a resource that I could share my my piece with that I wanted to get as a student writer was someone who vehemently despised me and didn't tell me to my face. And just fun thing there, they like talked about it like on their private story that they had also added me to.
Gosh.
That was a fun existential crisis for a moment.
I literally know that exact feeling because I had this horrible like emotionally abusive drama teacher my freshman year of high school, and he was like, did your high school do International Thespian Society?
No, that sounds very international.
Well, I don't want to go into the details, but he was like, you can get points to get inducted in an International Thespian Society if you write reviews for every show you see. So my family and I have gone to New York a few times, and we usually like just see Broadway shows. So I've seen like a ton of Broadway shows. I'd seen like 6 or 7 on that particular trip, and I got up early each morning to write reviews for every single one of them. Like, that's how I spent my free time on literal vacation. And I get back to school with this giant stack of reviews, and I hand it to him like, here's my video essays, Mr. Da-da-da. And he's like, why are you trying so hard to impress me?
Sir!
And then at the end of the year, when I'm like sending him all of my points, he's like, actually, the theater reviews don't count for points until you've already been inducted.
Sir,
Yeah, he like systemically withheld information so that I wouldn't get inducted because he hated me. And then he like talked behind my back to my ex-boyfriend's parents at induction about what an annoying diva I was, and they were like, "Hang on, you don't talk about our favorite of our son's ex-girlfriends like that." And so we all banded together and got him fired.
We had, so for the first 2 years we had a theater person who I didn't really actually know much about him in retrospect. Aside from the fact that he might have been a Mormon, there's a lot of rumors about him. But
Oh Lord.
you know theater people and their tea.
He was one of those Mormons.
Yeah. There's a musical about those.
Yes.
But so our second one that we had, right? So my whole thing of trying to get noticed by my director and stuff, I'm a very good at being over the top as possible actor
Yes,
and
yes.
stuff. That's kind of part of the shtick about me. If I need to, I'm good at doing these bit roles. So do you know about All Shook Up?
I know about it. I haven't listened to it.
So there's a scene, right? Because first of all, I think All Shook Up's one of the most genius jukebox musicals ever. And this is someone who's a Mamma Mia hater. That's a weird take, but I don't like Mamma Mia, which is funny.
Mamma Mia is like, it's you love it or you hate it. I think it's fun.
That's valid. I think the more
But I don't-
fun, like pop style one is Hairspray, which is genius.
Oh, I love Hairspray.
Hairspray, like every single song matters so much in that show. Like,
Exactly. It's such a burst of positivity.
I had an uncle who played Edna in a community production.
That
was
is
funny.
amazing.
But so right, so within wait, what was I talking about again?
You were talking about
yes, All Shook Up. So when we did it, there was a scene where I was cast as a bus driver, and so as a way to get noticed by the audience, I shouted my line as loudly and over the top as possible, and got the crowd to laugh, and I was satisfied. One of my friends was in the scene, and she was pretty chill with me, like just having a fun moment with that. And then there was like one kid who was like a theater kid, but like but like one of those like theater kids who's not the whole like theater energy. He kind of like had a more like punk-ish energy to him.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And honestly, that was such a satisfying moment. That show is actually like a genius jukebox musical. It's literally like 12th Night by the way of Elvis, and that's such a fun
That
concept.
is so fun.
Speaking of 12th Night, I did that in junior year and did not like get a role in it. To be fair, but my favorite Shakespeare thing I've done, right? So okay, so
Viola is one of my dream roles.
but I did have fun on the 12th Night production. I attempted to write a sequel to 12th Night called 12th Night 12th Night Malvolio's Revenge.
Okay.
I think that'd be a funny sequel.
It would.
Where and the whole shtick about what I wrote for that when I wrote part of it was I'm trying to pull this up in my drive, was so like this demon comes back from the grave and is like, Festes, the source of all your problems, get rid of him. And chaos would have ensued if I wrote any more of that.
That's great. I would love to see that.
But so another role that I've had is I played Puck in and did one of his. I did one of his. I didn't play him in the show, but I had his energy for the if we shadows have offended, think with this and all is mended. He's such a fun dude.
It's so fun.
I love theater so much. I'm waiting for, if anyone who's watching this is not a theater kid, I think I'm just gonna be putting in the description. This is a very theater centric version of Very Special Guest.
Yes.
Because you are the first theater kid that I've had as a guest.
That is great. I am honored.
But anyways, I'm gonna start wrapping up for this. But because
I wanted to talk more about Fullmetal Alchemist because I feel like we didn't get to enough.
Then continue. Yes, no, we should. Okay, sorry.
We can go until 3.
I can keep going, honestly. Sorry, I was just like, yeah.
Okay.
Hi. Cool.
So ask me like anything about FMA or the musical or whatever.
So who's your favorite of the homunculi?
My favorite of the homunculi. Ooh, I'm gonna have to say Envy.
Yeah.
Because they're so fun to watch. And like Wendy Powell does such a good voice performance as them.
You also watch dub, right?
Yes, I did
Yeah,
watch
same.
dub.
I watch dub because it's easier for me to pay attention to other
Fullmetal
things.
Alchemist has the greatest English dub of all time.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
good.
so fun to watch. Like, it's funny because I've met John Swayze in person, right?
Oh
But
my gosh!
he came to my local convention that I had, but I hadn't watched FMA at the time, so like I just met him, and like yeah.
And we gave Envy a really fun villain song in the musical, which is for when when they reveal that they caused Ishval
Oh gosh,
in freaking Gluttony's stomach. That's when Envy gets their villain song.
that's the perfect opportunity for it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's
Um,
several fun villain songs in the musical. Kimberly has a great one that my co-writer Fiona wrote. It's called Crimson Symphony.
So as someone who's not hearing it, I'm thinking it would be funny if it was like about the Ishval thing, but in the way of like the last midnight from like Into the Woods.
Ooh, yes. Yeah,
Like,
it's a similar vibe, I would say.
good. Okay, we're gonna need to talk more after this and stuff because like
Facts.
because like I would love to help get involved with this production if I can.
Please.
Can.
I would
like,
say, go on.
Yeah, no, or like not even if I get involved, but like help like look it over because like oh my gosh.
100%. I would say
Heck yeah. Huh?
I've had a ton of musicals have definitely influenced this. I'd definitely say Hamilton and Les Mis were big influences on how like the score is structured, because with how interconnected the story is and how many parallels there are between characters and stuff, like we have a ton of musical themes that get like reprised and repurposed a bunch of different times throughout the show, and it's this interconnected web. One of my favorites, my favorite like genius musical detail in the show is during it's during Roy's fight with Envy, which is my favorite. That and like his subsequent scene with Riza is my favorite scene in the show, and probably my favorite scene in the musical as well. And are you familiar with Anastasia?
I've heard of it.
Okay, well, there's a song in Anastasia that's very similar to what I've gone for with this scene, and so basically when they're talking him down, Roy and Scar like switch musical themes to represent how now Roy is the one who's being consumed by vengeance.
I love that.
It's great.
Also, you mentioned Les Mis, so I gotta say the best song. Les Mis is my shower musical. I listen
Les
to
Mis is my favorite musical. It's my shower musical as well.
It's one of mine too, but my favorite song is easily Stars.
Ooh, Stars is so good.
Javert is just, oh my gosh.
Javert is my favorite character.
Same.
It took me forever to come to that conclusion, but Javert is my favorite Les Mis character.
I think he's so complicated in the best way, and like Les Mis is, I think it's one of the best musicals out there and stuff for like, and it's so beloved for like good reason. I have not seen the movie since it came out, but I honestly want to rewatch it just to make fun of it at some point.
Oh my gosh, Russell Crowe! Oh no. There is nowhere I can turn.
I think it's
splat when he hits the water.
I think it is so funny how often like directors butcher their musical movies.
Musicals are so easy to mess up.
I think the big three, right, is for like, well, so it's funny because movies, like, they can adapt like some books fine, sure, but like musicals, anime, and cartoons are like three things that like almost
super hard to adapt.
Or wait, no, musicals, animation, and video games are the things that are the hardest for them to adapt. I think. Which is hilarious because that's like 3/4 of geek culture.
I mean, I still want an animated Undertale movie by the creators of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So
okay, so my favorite
Travis Willingham as Sans.
My favorite of that studio's movies, or I'm a diehard fan of Mitchell vs. the Machines. That's my favorite movie.
I love Mitchell vs. Machines.
That is my single favorite movie of all time.
That is valid. Such a good movie. Definitely
it is
one of my favorite animated movies. And movies in general.
No, so my 4 favorite movies, right, are that are that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is in my opinion like my favorite Marvel film because it's like I cry every time
Oh,
when
I
I watch
love
it.
Guardians of the Galaxy too. That's
I,
definitely one of my favorite Marvel movies.
I think the death in it is like the single saddest moment in any Marvel movie.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Then my next favorite, right, is 8th grade.
Oh, I want to see 8th grade. I haven't yet. Though.
And then finally is Coco.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I love
taste.
I still love that we've like randomly just met today and it's been like boom instantly so much in common.
Facts.
Like I've been pretty honestly this podcast has been pretty good like for like talking to people and like randomly just getting into the vibe of talking with them.
Yes.
But like it's always such a weird thing whenever you talk with someone who's like blatantly like who's like random in that kind of sense because you have no idea how the conversation's gonna go. But this one has gone lovely, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a theater reunion, honestly.
Facts.
But no, okay, back to the FMA.
So I have a really, really interesting relationship with Riza as a character because, like, I really want to originate her role in the musical, and I have such a. We are so different. Like, if you look at our MBTI type, she's almost the opposite to me. Like, we are so different, and yet sometimes I feel like I am her. Like,
that's fair.
I know her so well because I've read so much fan fiction from her point of view. like who needs method acting when you have fan fiction? I'm just like, I know how Riza would react in any possible situation. I know what she is feeling at all times.
I love that fan fiction is like a concept and stuff and like fan made creations and stuff. Like you go.
There was this one fan fiction. It's called it's on AO3. It's called Delicate by Lanter, and it's this character study of Riza from like her childhood all the way to the trials, like 10 years after the show ends, and it is one of the most beautiful, devastating pieces of fiction I have ever read. I actually love it almost as much as like Fullmetal Alchemist itself. And it had such an impact on my understanding of both Riza and Roy's characters. And like, I don't think I would have been able to write their songs for the musical without it. There are so many lines in Even Into Hell that have come like straight. The inspiration for them was just straight out of that fic.
See, I have in my time in fandom, like, I had my fanfiction.net stage, but I never really got in too much into like fan fiction as a form.
Yeah, I like only read Roy I fan fiction pretty much.
I've never gotten involved in the FMA fandom, but my first and kind of like my first fandom was Gravity Falls.
Yes, I love Gravity Falls. I only watched it last year though.
Fun fact, I got bullied in middle school for liking it.
Oh, that sucks. But now, like, everyone likes it. Now it's cool to like Gravity Falls.
I know. I have gotten the last laugh on my middle school.
Facts.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's one of it's a really great show. Then I also was in the Steven Universe fandom. And then also Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. I've been pretty attached to always.
Yes.
Hot take: Legend of Korra is insanely good too, and
I love Legend of Korra. Are you kidding? Way too much hate.
I love oh my gosh, I love the Avatar like universe as a whole because like the male characters also are like not toxic like dude bros aside from Mako who kind of sucks.
Mako gets development though at least.
Yeah. But like
after both of his ex-girlfriends end up together.
Yeah, as one does. But no, I'm a Bolin lover. Like he's oh my gosh, like him and Varric's interactions is the core.
Yes, Varric is everything.
Is the core ENFP ENTP friendship.
Facts.
Dude, I was on personality database right as that like flipped as that vote was like flipping over and stuff. Because I've always been a believer in Bull and ENFP, and everyone was like, "No, he's a censor," but it's like, no, he just seems sillier than he is. He's a thing. He's an idea, man.
That was me with Alphonse being an being an INFP, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's an ISFJ," and I'm like, how is
No.
he introverted sensing dominant? Where are you not seeing the introverted feeling? Because he's nice? Are you saying introverted feeling dominance can't be nice?
See, my whole thing that I've noticed with INFPs, right, is a lot of them are like that FI is like just this wholesome sweetness and stuff. Like there's an ongoing joke like between ENFPs and INFPs, right, that we adopt you. It's kind of a fact.
Yes.
Y'all are just so adoptable because like
We are.
And ENFPs meanwhile are like the ultimate like we're portrayed as like the ultimate like social people who are like, hi, how are you? Oh yeah, I've got the same exact personality type as Aang.
Yes, you do.
Which has been one of the funniest ones to have the connection to.
I love
He's just
that.
a good boy. I love him. Oh gosh, though no. So Avatar and Fullmetal Alchemist, right? I don't know if we got to this while we were recording though. I think it's so funny because the two shows I think have so much in common.
Yes.
Like, so I got my really good friend, my friend Katie. I'm saying Katie because it's a pretty common name. But I got my friend Katie who was into Avatar and then into Fullmetal Alchemist. Needless to say, her reaction to the Nina death scene was
Oh
hilarious.
no. Oh no.
I love her. She's one of my best friends ever, and I love showing her scenes like that because it's always just funny to get like her reactions to it as someone who first saw it because she was not expecting. She still newer to anime, so she was not expecting it.
I've gotten so many of my friends into Fullmetal Alchemist, and like they always go into it knowing how obsessed I am with Roy. So seeing them react to Cold Flame is always so funny because I have to be like, I promise it's not what you think. He wouldn't be my favorite character if he'd actually done this.
Yeah.
And I get worried they're gonna like question my sanity. They're like, her favorite character is this guy? Because like sometimes I go and watch the early episodes of FMA and like Roy is such an asshole at the beginning, and I'm like, really? I forgot how he was before his character. I don't want to say before his character development because like the thing I find most fascinating about Roy is the fact that like and tragic is the fact that so little of what we see of him on screen is his actual personality. Like Roy Mustang at his core is like an incredibly compassionate softie with a heart of gold. Like, and we don't get to see that side of him a lot because if he shows that side of him, everyone's going to know what his plans are. Like, he has to keep that hidden under this, like, cold-hearted persona, and it makes me so sad because, like, he's had to repress, like, his best qualities.
Oh my gosh, there's so many characters within FMA and then other shows within a similar like vibe that just like have so much always under the surface that you're not expecting. And I honestly think that the show's like it fascinates me so much just its ability to portray like everything so well and stuff because like there's not a single thing within FMA that like is not handled expertly in my opinion. Like
I would agree.
Okay. So, the one part that I think is a bit weaker, right, is that I thought on my first watch, right, is I'm not a big fan of how they handle Sloth on my first watch, I felt. But, like, it's fine. He's the least interesting of the homunculi, but you know what? There has to be one like that.
Yeah, he serves his purpose.
Yeah. And the rest of the homunculi are literally like, oh my gosh. The random connection that I think is, like, Gluttony reminds me of Winnie the Pooh.
Yes!
Which is a fun random connection, but it's... Exactly. But like they're all like just such interesting characters. Like, oh my gosh, Envy's got like one of the best final fights ever. I think Greed is like one of the other really great developed characters, and the whole Greed Ling thing.
We gave Greed and Ling in the musical have a song in the style of Confrontation from Jekyll and Hyde. Nice.
I am so excited to hear more from you, by the way, about the musical and stuff, because I like bizarre musicals and stuff. One of my people that I talk to online. Do you know August Greenwood?
I don't.
I talk with them often and stuff about like musicals and stuff, and that's a lot of fun to just talk to because they're very pog. Um, but like honestly, bizarre musicals and stuff, like I've seen so many bizarre musicals that where people are like, "What?" But honestly, FMA makes like perfect sense to get a musical adaptation.
It really does make so much sense as a musical, and I think it's because like there was this interview with Lin-Manuel Miranda where he talks about how like what makes a good musical character is like when good musical characters, like the most compelling ones, have that drive. They have this thing that they desperately want and are striving for. And there's so many characters like that in Fullmetal Alchemist that enable you to have these really powerful moments where you're rooting for them.
Yeah.
And and like the connections between all the characters, like it works so well for music and like representing that via leitmotifs and stuff.
Exactly though. Also, okay, one final note, by the way, you've been an amazing guest for this show, by the way. Like, had a fantastic time talking with you, and
I did too. This was so much fun.
You're welcome to come back on the show at another
I would
point.
love to.
I'm gonna eventually start like doing either double dipping or like crossovering guests, which would be funny.
Yes, please.
But so, have you discovered that there's a Muppet version of Hamilton?
I feel like I might have seen that somewhere before, but I can't remember if I actually have or not.
That is the last thought that I'm gonna like leave with you with the fact that they made a Muppet Hamilton and it exists in this universe where someone did a version where they dubbed or where they had each of the Hamilton characters being portrayed by a different Muppet.
That is so iconic.
It is lovely, and I want to say thank you for being a very special guest this week.
Thank you. Wait, when is this going to be up?
Hang on, I'm going to stop the recording.